Hello and welcome back to my channel where I discuss my dating mishaps along with other various crap in my life. But today is dating. So this is Dating Fails episode 3. If you've been watching at all, you know that basically I put my face on for another reason today and figured why not record and tell you some embarrassing personal story about my life that you never asked for. Disclaimer, I know you're watching. And no, you did not make the dating fails real yet. So you can relax and enjoy your day at work. These are things that are warning you not to do as I do. I'm not saying I made good choices. Certainly didn't. So more cautionary tales. I'm not encouraging my level of stupidity by any means. So here we go. About a month ago, I was at work. I think it was a Tuesday or something. I was really slow. I work in a restaurant. I was really slow and I was bored. And I was playing around on my phone and going plenty of fish. And this guy had messaged me. He was pretty cute. Checked out his profile. Seems like my type. So it's like, okay, I'll message him back. And he had just said like, hey, what's up? Or something to that effect. And, I replied and he said that he was having a margarita by himself. And he happened to mention the area that he was in, which was the same area that I was working in. And I was like, oh, you're at this restaurant, aren't you? Like at the Mexican restaurant down the road. And he's like, yeah, I am actually. Like, why don't you come have a drink with me? And stupid me, I don't know. I was in a mood. And for whatever reason, threw caution to the wind. And I was like, actually, if you want to have a drink with me, you're going to have to come to where I'm working and have a drink here to meet me. I'm right up the road from you. My dumbass told a stranger on the internet where I worked, where I was currently located, and encouraged him to come see me because that's not like the thirstiest thing ever, right? And on top of it, I look like shit at work. The uniform does nothing for me. I smell like biscuits and sadness and regret, and I had no makeup on. What was I thinking? I don't know what I was thinking. But I think a contributing factor was the fact that in the last couple months, I've had a very hard time getting people to actually meet in person. I don't want to sit there and email and message or text or whatever continuously. That drives me nuts. Like, if you're online dating just for a texting buddy, just be clear about that. But like, I am looking to meet people in person, see if we vibe, whatever. I get super bored. And if you don't meet me within a couple, days, weeks, whatever, I'll stop texting you because I'm not bored. Like, I need human interaction or you're wasting my time. So I just had a bunch of people within the last couple months stand me up for dates or schedule with me. And then I'd be completely ready, hair, makeup, whatever, ready to go. And they would not, text me at 8 o'clock at night that they can't make it. Like, that's bullshit. Like, so I think I was just in one of those moods. I was like, screw it. Like, being a little more open to just meeting somebody like right after starting to talk to them, just because why the hell not? We happen to be in the same place, sort of. Again, I'm trying to justify a stupid idea, but I think that's kind of where my head was at. But either way, it was stupid. Okay, so I told him where I work, whatever, and he goes, okay, well, like I just ordered dinner, like maybe I'll stop up later, whatever. So I went up to the hostesses and I said, hey, I just invited a stranger from the internet that I just started talking to 5 minutes ago to come see me at work. So if anybody comes in asking for me and they look like a serial killer, like give a girl a heads up, please let me know so that I can quickly exit the situation. So now they're cracking up. I show them his profile and his pictures and they just think it's funny that I'm such an idiot and they're like keeping an eye out for him. And it's like the whole like, we were slow, so we're all gossiping about it, whatever. Well, next thing I know, I got seated at a party and I got a couple more tables. I got like my first little busy stretch of the night. So I'm absorbed in work, running around, whatever. And, in between when I had a second, if I was at the computer screen doing something, I would check and I was answering him, asking how his dinner went. He's asking me how work was going, all these things. And he didn't mention coming up again. So like, I didn't want to be weird. I'm not going to be that like weird girl begging you to come see me at my place of employment. That's freaking weird. So I let it go. Oh, the party that I got sat at was a birthday and we sang happy birthday and whatever. And while I'm messaging this guy, he said something when he asked about work and I had said I was doing a party and he was like, oh, a birthday party. And it was like, well, how did you know it was a birthday? And he's like, oh, well, you know, I, isn't that what people would go have a party for at a restaurant? I just assumed it was a birthday. I just thought it was weird because it was literally right after we sang happy birthday. But, whatever. Didn't think anything of it. I go and I start cleaning my section. And my section that night was located right by the bar. So I go through and I'm busting the tables and I'm climbing under the table, picking up crayons from the kids and stuff. And there's this guy sitting at the bar and, I stood up at the table. I literally think I'd been climbing under the table at this point, ass in the air and everything. I'm sure it was a great look. So I get out from under the table and the guy that had been sitting at the bar gets up and he walks by and he's like, hey, have a good night. So I'm like, oh, okay, have a good night. Thanks, you too. And he looked at me and I was like, wait a minute. I grabbed his arm and I was like, what's your name? And he tells me, and here, it was the guy that I've been talking to all night. So I'm instantly like confused as hell and in shock and whatever. He'd been sitting at the bar for well over an hour. He was messaging me, watching me answer his messages. He watched me work for over an hour and didn't tell me that he was there. How fucking creepy is that, right? So I'm just flustered at this point, and I'm like, what is happening? And we were supposed to meet at 10:30 when I got off work. Like we had already made plans to meet after work earlier on in this conversation. Well, I didn't know he just watched me freaking work for an hour and a half. Like, that's creepy. But he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, my Uber's here. I gotta go. Blah, 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 blah. We talked for a minute and then he left. I'm like, I feel really dumb that I didn't know it was you. Like, I was, working. And he's like, well, I look like my pictures. I'm like, you do now that you say it, but I wasn't looking for you because you didn't say you were here in any of the messages you sent. I said I was a little confused when right after the birthday singing you said something about a birthday, but he's like, yeah, I played it off, whatever. So he asked if I still wanted, his Uber was there. Do I still want to meet him when I get off work? I'm like, yeah, here, text me. Here's my number. We'll figure it out. We'll see what time I get out of here. Because the fact that I was just stalked at work and he didn't tell me was not a no. It didn't instantly make it a no because I don't know why it should have. Okay, I'm going to stop making excuses for myself. Lots of bad choices in this video. So after he left, he texted me. He goes, I really did not mean to creep you out. Like, you just seemed like you were busy and I didn't want you to have to stop what you were doing. And, I'm like, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. But then, like, I thought about it later. I'm like, I clearly was messaging you. No, it's definitely creepy. So I go over and I find the hostesses and I'm like, guys, he was here the whole time. And I was like, he was that guy sitting at such and such spot at the bar. And they're like, oh, he was really cute. Like, I didn't recognize him from the profile either. Like, we didn't know that was him. Like, that's so weird that he didn't tell you he was here. So we're, like, cracking up. Told them I was still, like, planning on meeting him after work. So I'm telling my coworkers this story, and I'm like, if I meet this guy after work, am I going to get, like, murdered? I'm going to get murdered, or I'm going to get murdered. Literally sent all of his information to my coworker, like, hey, if I go out with this guy, can you please just, like, check on me later, make sure I'm okay. Like, this is his name, this is what he looks like, this is his phone number, blah, blah, blah. So 10:30 comes along, I get out, we text throughout the rest of my shift, and then, oh my God, hold on, this cat is driving me nuts. Baby, come here. So at 10:30, when I get off of work, I'm texting him and he's not answering me. He had just been answering me up until 9:45. So he's not answering me. So I'm like, okay, like either you replaced me or you fell asleep. I don't really know, but I'm not going to hang out in this area. Like, I'm going to go home. Like, whatever. So I go home and didn't think much of it. 1:30 in the morning, he texts me, oh my God, I'm so sorry I fell asleep. I'm like, oh. I'm like, okay, it happens. Like, it's fine. But he's like, oh, I'm at this hotel. Come over and see me. This is my room. Like, no, I'm not coming to your hotel room at 2 a.m. Sorry, buddy. You could have met me for, like, a drink, which for me would have been water. But you could have met me after work. But no, like, I'm not. So we ended up texting. So then he starts with, like, I hate when people do this. Like, even regular questions, but like I don't want to play 20 questions. It's not how I like to get to know somebody. I like things to be a little more conversational, a little more natural. Guest starring Milo. he would have awkward dating experiences, except for he's mean to other cats and has an empty coin purse where his testicles once were. So he doesn't really go after the ladies. But anyway, so he starts with like 20 questions, right? And it wasn't just normal, like, get to know you 20 questions. It was all sex related. And like, a few of the more mild ones I answered. And the next, because he was attractive. And so the next thing I know, I'm like, first of all, I was like getting a shower and drying my hair. And I hate drying my hair. It frustrates me anyways. And I had to keep putting down the round brush and putting down the blow dryer to answer these questions. And then it went from like more innocent stuff to like, basically, he wanted me to like do him up the ass with a dildo and wanted me to walk him around with a collar on and have you ever been fisted and have you ever been peed on and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, how did we get here? First of all, no. Like, these are not questions you ask a stranger. And finally, and then he was getting mad because I'm not answering. And I was like, okay, first of all, I don't want to play 20 questions about what have I ever done in the sack. This is not fun. This is boring. I'm like, and like, you can't bring out full kink the first time you talk to somebody and you haven't even seen if you got a longer vibe or like whatever. Like, how do you go from 4 hours ago you said what's up, then you showed up at my work and didn't tell me you were there? Like, cool, I invited you, but like, you could have told me you were there. And then you take a nap and now you want to know if I've ever had a whole fist in my vagina. This all escalated very quickly and it was very strange. So I was like, yeah, I'm kind of like done with this conversation. Like, I need to go blow dry my hair, blah, blah. He's like, all right, babe, text me tomorrow. Yeah, sure, will do. I did not text him tomorrow. I did not text him ever. Didn't hear from him again. And then out of nowhere, he just messaged me like 2 days ago, like, hey, what's up? Like, all casual. So, a couple of things to take away from this. Talk to people for a little while before you invite them to your place of employment. I don't know where you work, dumbass. Like, what was I thinking? Just don't do that. Stranger danger, like, homeboy does not need to know where you work. He does not need to, especially if it's somewhere public like that. Like, I work in a bar restaurant. Like, you have full access to me. You can come in whenever you want. Like, if you're a weirdo, like, it was a bad call. As was kissing the cat with lip gloss on. So, yeah, just don't invite people to where you work. And that shouldn't be a thing that I have to tell anybody, let alone myself. But lesson learned, it was creepy. And yeah, I don't understand the like 0 to 100 on the sex stuff. Like, here's my whole thing with kink. And everybody has what they're into. And I don't care what anybody's into. Like, cool, whatever. We all let our freak flags fly. I'm with it. However, I think of sex like I think of like, say, algebra or trigonometry. So when you were in school and you were learning like a new algebraic concept, and like on the first day you learn like day one in this first step with these kind of equations, and they're like little equations. And the reason you have to master this step is because the next day you're going to build on something more complicated and now, of how to solve bigger equations with this same concept. But you have to master step number 1 first before you move on to steps 2 and 3 and these huge, large equations that take you an entire page of paper to complete, right? That's how I think about sex. Like, can we first of all, like, you got to be able to have good old plain regular vanilla sex before you expect me to have you swinging from a hotel chandelier with a butt plug in your ass. Like, that's something you build up to, right? I mean, is it just me? Maybe I'm just a prude, but I just think that kind of stuff is something that you build up to. So what I always think when somebody comes out the gate with like a bunch of kink, like, where do we go from here? I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Maybe I'm just a prude. Maybe the whole thing was so weird. And I was just so thankful that he fell asleep and that I didn't go out with him. It was amusing for the people at work that I was that dumb and that quick to be like, oh, hey, stranger from the internet, let's hang out. Maybe I'll like you. Like, ew. Yeah, one of the more thirsty things I've done. And it's not even like I had any intention of like sleeping with a stranger or anything. It just, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I don't know why it seemed like a good idea. So that's the most recent one. Yeah, don't invite strange men to your job. So do not do as I have done. Learn from my mistakes. All right, I will catch you in the next one. I got to make a list. I feel like I'm forgetting quite a few of my awkward dates. And I think part of it is because I am currently successfully, for the first time, like I think I'm like successfully dating. And that doesn't happen for me. So I think it's throwing off my mojo of being in the headspace of all my terrible, awkward dates. But hopefully I didn't just jinx it.